Well, good evening, y'all. I have something that I really want to bring to y'all's attention that I think, in terms of where we are in America, is pretty darn important. And I don't think it's being covered enough in the media that I think it's something we need to talk about. So, bricks, and not the kind of bricks you build your house with. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South America, South Africa. What these countries have done is forge a trade alliance. And as part of this trade alliance, they have decided that they want to eliminate the US dollar as the currency of choice for the world. That they want to utilize a new currency as the basic currency for international trade. And oddly enough, it's the Chinese yuan, which we've talked about a little bit previously. And my concern there, our dollar has dominated over our 200 years as the basis for international financial trade. And this BRICS is trying to create an alternative where our dollar is no longer that anymore. And the thing that is problematic about that is Russia and China are two of these countries involved in this. Basically, our de facto enemies. I mean, we've already agreed that, through watching all my videos, they're pretty much, we're in a proxy war with them. Anywhere that they are, that we can fight them, we pretty much are. I mean, look at Ukraine, look at Taiwan. We pretty much said, hey, here's the deal, y'all. You're you, we're us. We're going to do what we're going to do. Good luck stopping us. And here's a place where they actually do, in fact, have the weight to throw around that shows we may not be in the position of strength that we think we're in. So the problem with this BRICS here, they have the gross domestic product to do this. They make enough money on the world stage that they have purchasing parity for trade and products over about 90% of the countries in the world. And they've agreed that they want the Chinese yuan to become the basis for world trade. We've already touched on that in a previous episode, and I'm going to go ahead and link it up here in the top in the beginning of this video, that the yuan has overtaken the dollar as the currency commodity of choice on the world stock exchange. First time in our history this has ever happened. First time in the world history this has ever happened. The dollar has always been the gold standard of finance. And they basically are trying to eliminate our dollar as as the currency of choice. And a big part of that is if we see the dollar lose demand as a global currency, it will devalue our dollar significantly, down to the point where we may be in a very odd position of seeing the dollar lose value to all of the other currencies in the world, like the pound and the Deutschmark and the yen, to where, you look at it now, the peso, like $1 is worth like 10 million pesos, right? What happens when they succeed in this realm and our dollar is worth significantly less than we are right now? Because the potency of the dollar will decrease as they find the ability to devalue it, which they are finding, obviously, now that we're seeing the dollar not being the most important publicly traded currency. And the thing there that I think becomes an issue is, as it loses value, other countries may join the bandwagon. What happens when some of these other large countries in the world, England, France, Germany, that we really have good trading parity with, decide, man, you know what? Dollar ain't what she used to be. Maybe we need to, hell, America ain't what she used to be. Maybe we need to make a move and get on the bandwagon with these other countries that are doing so much better than America is. And I think that's the scary part of this. I've got a quote here from the deputy chairman of the Russian Congress, basically. The transition to settlements and national currencies is the first step. The next one is to provide the circulation of digital or another form of a fundamentally new currency in the near future, which opens up an entirely scary situation, because we've talked about central bank digital currency a ton previously, where if we roll to a central bank digital currency, what you're going to see is expiration dates on your money. You're going to see requirements on what you can spend it on. They're going to say, hey, this month you only get $50 for fast food. we're not liking what you're doing. We're not a fan. So hey, this month here's what you can spend it on. And we've unwrapped, and I'll put that in the the end of the episode playlist for you guys to take a look at if you haven't seen it previously. But all these things kind of play together where we're going to see a devaluation of the dollar, hyperinflation. So your dollar gets you less, it's worth less, and the world doesn't want it as much. It's almost like a masterclass in financial destruction. And I hope that our government is prepared to deal with this, that we have some sort of plan in place. We're going to go lockstep with our allies and say, hey, y'all may want to devalue the dollar. It's not happening. It is still the gold standard for currency. And I think we can do that because if you look at France, Germany, England, I mean, we're some of those vibrant economies in the world when you put them on top of ours and on top of Japan and on top of Taiwan and on top of all these other allies that we have that produce things in the world you can't necessarily find elsewhere. So I think that is the path for us. As you know, I've stated, on probably 5 episodes now, I think that central bank digital currency is incredibly dangerous and a very poor choice for us in the world. So I think our path is fairly clear that our elected officials have to dig their feet in a little bit, show a little diplomacy, and see what they can do to remind everybody like, hey, dollar's where it's at. I mean, there's other currencies that are valuable. The pound and the Deutschmark are internationally accepted, but this idea of destroying the dollar to create some new magical currency is probably dangerous, especially if that new digital currency that BRICS wants to create is a central bank digital currency. Because then who's actually in control? So say the dollar loses its full value, significantly decreased, and now, central bank digital currency A is the new standard. What if that central bank digital currency is not controlled by the United States? Then what? What if they say, hey, yeah, only companies who trade at X value with China are where you're going to allow you to spend your money? So we've got a foreign power determining where you as an American citizen can spend your money. It's highly problematic, I think, for us. So I'm hoping that the powers that be in the United States, that our government is looking at this and our finance people are looking at this and developing a plan. Because, again, 250th thing we've talked about in the last month where it's like, hey, y'all, can we do something about this? Like, I don't get great vibes. So I think the answer is robust financial policy. Show the world that America is still a financial power and that the dollar is the predominant commodity currency in the world. And how do we do that? Leverage our companies. Leverage Apple, leverage Amazon, leverage Google. These are American companies. Start putting the pressure on foreign companies. Start pushing back a little bit on them. They rely on us, not the other way around. So thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing and commenting the way you have been. I know I genuinely appreciate it. So you guys have a great night. And tomorrow I have an amazing thing to talk about with you related to prepping and foreign policy all wrapped into one. So you guys have an awesome evening and we will talk tomorrow.